Herzlich willkommen zum Perform Better Podcast. Mein Name ist Ruven und ich habe heute zu Gast Dr. Chris Holder. I will switch over to English after I've done a quick German intro about Dr. Chris. Chris ist seit über 20 Jahren als Coach tätig. Er war selber als Footballspieler tätig und verbrachte auch seine gesamte Karriere im Anschluss mit dem Training von College-Athleten. Seine vielfältigen Trainingsmethoden ermöglichen seinen Athleten ein einzigartiges Training. Bekannt als Pionier des Kettlebell-Training in College-Kreisen hat Chris die Tür für ein moderneres Training aufgestoßen und alte, monotone Herangehensweisen verändert. Unter anderem hat er die Vorbereitung seiner Athleten auf den NFL Combine in der NFL für Aufsehen erregt. Seine zweite Karriere als Qigong Mediziner mit dem Schwerpunkt auf der Onkologie ist sozusagen sein zweites Standbein. Durch die Mischung aus den westlichen und fernöstlichen Ansätzen hat Chris eine ganzheitliche Methode entwickelt, die jeden gesundheitlichen Aspekt für den Athleten umfasst und ist damit an der Spitze der Forschung im Qigong an der California Polytechnic State University. Hi Chris, thank you so much for doing this podcast with me.
My pleasure, thanks for having me.
I just gave a brief overview of your bio.
You'll be happy to know that I took some German in high school and I caught about 6 or 7 of those words. So
good.
I feel good about myself right now.
Very nice.
Yes.
You're a coach with a unique background. Could you give us an overview in your own words on how you respond to the question, what do you do?
So I'm a strength conditioning coach at the college level in the United States. I work with 22 sports. With the focus being on American football, obviously, and then your typical college sports, basketball, soccer, baseball, softball, a lot of the standard sports. I've been doing this a long time. I've been at the college level the entire time, and about 10 years ago, went to medical school for Chinese medical Qigong therapy. And the study of it, or the emphasis of it, was on oncology or cancer study.
Yeah.
And we were able to take a lot of the ideas that the Qigong principles bring, that Far East sort of idea about medicine, and we're using a lot of those techniques and many of those practices to help enhance recovery, help enhance performance in what people consider to be healthy athletes. But doing some work to help lower inflammation levels, doing some work to help the athletes rest and sleep better. So we're trying to blend a lot of your kind of very dogmatic Western weight training ideas, and then blending some of those Far Eastern medical ideas to help the athlete really reach that potential that we all talk about. So it's been great.
Okay, I've had one of our questions I had prepared that your bio states that you bring a unique blend of methods to your athletes. Is that what you just said, or could you elaborate on that even more?
Well, as far as the weight training piece of it goes, if you know anything about, especially the way collegiate strength conditioning is here in the United States, most of us kind of just do the same things. Everybody does the Olympic weightlifting exercises. Everybody does your standard your back squat, your bench presses, all of those things. I was one of the first guys, at least here in the States, to bring kettlebell training, hard style kettlebell training, the RKC, to the college levels, which has been an incredible addition to the way we do things, because it gets me a little bit away from kind of the norm. It allows my athletes to train in a different manner. And I know it's kind of complicated in American football is what it is, but the style of type of football that we do here, the type of athlete that we recruit, the qualities that I have to kind of plug into those athletes in terms of speed, in terms of like very deep conditioning, we've had to kind of get away from the norm a little bit because, again, it goes back to the type of athlete that I'm getting in. We're not these gargantuan sort of giants that you're probably accustomed to seeing. We're actually a little bit smaller of a team, and we have to win with speed. And so we've had to reach out and sort of investigate other ways of doing things. I don't know if know David Weck or Weck Method in San Diego, California, but David and I have partnered. So Cal Poly and Weck Method have come together a lot with the speed training stuff and a lot of things that he does. And trust me, for your listeners, nobody's more out of the box and unconventional than David Weck is. And so it's been a great partnership. It's been a fantastic kind of coming together and meeting of the minds where we can do some very, very different things. I promise you, with a lot of the BOSU-based training that we're doing and some of the coiling stuff that David preaches, we're probably the only people at least we're like the college level who are doing these things. And so, again, it goes back to me, the necessity because of the style of football that we play, needing to look beyond what the norm is.
I see. We actually I interviewed David just a few weeks ago, and
so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
What an energetic guy! Huh?
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm actually going to go down. I guess it's a week from Saturday to spend a day with him and a couple of other guys. We're going to just spend a day locked in that building, just thinking and talking and going through stuff. So
nice.
he's pretty exceptional.
Great. And join and say hi, please, for me.
I will.
How did you get in touch with Qigong, the studies? I'm assuming as a football player, and you seem to be a pretty buff guy, it's quite uncommon.
Well, totally uncommon. This is a very long-winded answer, and I'm going to shorten it as much as I can.
Sure.
I used to work at a university called San Jose State up in the San Francisco area, up in California here, and I was there for a long time. And I was working with some yogis, personal training, them on the side. And again, to make a very long story short, they after about a year of training them, they had come in contact with a group out of Monterey, California, which is about an hour southwest of where we were at. This guru, this Grandmaster Qigong Master, was coming out of retirement to teach this doctoral course. And they felt, being these yoga-minded people and more of that Zen Eastern type ideas, that study would be an incredible addition to my already existing schooling. And so after some pushing and pulling, I decided to investigate, go to it, and it was one of these wonderful things where it was a complete departure from what I had done with all of the normal strength training stuff. But it added an element into the recipe that I'm trying to create for my athletes that I never even dreamt was there. And again, it goes back to those recovery pieces, like with the CrossFitters and all these really, these groups that work at these very high end. They're kind of training themselves into the ground. They're trying to keep their nutrition going. They're constantly searching for the next way to recover, short of using drugs. We've found through several studies that I've conducted and that the Qigong stuff can address a lot of that. Okay. And, with the training that you've done, it's really easy to get somebody to really raise that level up and get super, excited and about the weightlifting piece. But now how do we bring them back down to balance things back out? And so we have been working for years on putting together that recipe, and it's working.
I see.
Yeah.
Not knowing much about Qigong myself, what kind of a role does Qigong play for the mental game of the athlete?
It's great. Great question. Just to give you a very quick reference, have you ever had acupuncture before?
Sure, I did.
Okay, so Qigong is the mother to acupuncture. It's where all the foundational theories, all the medicine comes from the mother Qigong. She be the first. And so many of the rules and some of the more medical pieces that you see in acupuncture comes from there. And so when you talk about the whole body, like holistically, you speak of the person and sort of the energetics around that person, and even out to more spiritual concepts. That's all one container of ideas. And what acupuncture and a lot of the Chinese medicine does, it sort of addresses all three on three different levels. And so one of those levels is this energetic or that mental piece. And so with what we've created in terms of protocols and practices, we're able to allow the work that we're doing helps the athlete focus. So all that sort of chatter that you get in your mind, whether, I don't know what it is, but you're standing over the bar and you're getting ready for a big attempt, and that, that doubt creeps in and that talk happens. Or for us, like a quarterback goes out and he gets under center getting ready for the play, and he's got to go through his checks, what we refer to as checks, and kind of go through the process of the play before it happens. You can get all that chatter to stop. So their ability to focus and really dial in on one task gets refined this way. And that's where a lot of the magic comes from. What we're seeing with the research that we've done is the sleep component, because we're able to get them some of the highest quality sleep that you can imagine. And the focus piece gets really enhanced with this work. Mm-hmm. So even though sleep isn't necessarily something you see on the field, you know it's a product because they're recovering, they're feeling better when they get up in the morning, sure. And they're not feeling as beat down from the week of training prior to that competition. So from a mental standpoint, if you can imagine for all your listeners, all that chatter that people usually get, if we could just erase that, that's
being in the here and the now. That's very powerful.
Yeah,
very
100%. Yeah.
I've seen actually just today, I was going through my timeline on Facebook, the Halo, those headphones that send some electricity. I saw that you liked it.
Yes.
Are you experimenting with them? Have you used them with your athletes? Just curious, out of personal reason.
Hopefully the Halo people are listening, because I'm considering buying a pair and messing around with them. Maybe they can hook us up a little bit.
All right.
It's very interesting to me. And we both know that when it comes to weight training and strength training and athletics, I mean, the brain is everything. It makes all of it happen. And obviously it governs all of the adaptations that we try to achieve through our training. And anything that can give us a step forward, a legal step forward, I think it's something we all should consider looking into. And so, I'm probably going to end up getting a pair here soon.
All right.
And give them a test drive and see how the kids like it.
Maybe we can get back to this on the part 2 podcast, and we'll see how that works out. To all the listeners, the Halo, if you just Google HALO headphones Neuro, I think then you'll find the right website, and they have some pretty interesting videos and already some interesting references, which promise a lot. So let's see.
Well, of course, the people who are endorsing them, they're going to say glowing things. But even if you listen to those endorsements and the people who are using them, it's pretty interesting.
I agree.
Yeah.
So what you've been saying so far is also very interesting. You are contributing a lot on breakingmuscle.com as an author. Yeah. What's a topic that you're working on currently? What's your next article going to be about?
So I started writing for Breaking Muscle. We're almost at 2 years now. And for your listeners who don't know, Breaking Muscle is a website that's just a gigantic library of articles written by all different types of coaches and athletes. And you can find basically anything that you're curious about. You can find an article on that somebody's written, especially if you're a CrossFitter, especially you're like a coach like myself who's looking just for some advice or those type of topics. You're going to find all that stuff. Yeah. I have written about everything, and I originally started writing for them as a way to start getting my Qigong research out. Mm-hmm. And then when I wrote 3 or 4 articles, and then I realized that their readership, and we have millions of readers.
Yeah.
The readership, they needed to know that I was a reliable source for strength training information, and not coming at them with this very strange, kind of obscure information about this mystical stuff that I do. Mm-hmm. So I decided at one point to kind of step away from the Qigong writing part of it, establish some credibility with the readers as far as coaching goes. Mm-hmm. So I have written about everything. I mean, all the traditional stuff. I've written kettlebell articles, obviously written a lot of Qigong stuff, a lot of how to coach this, how to coach that articles. And currently I'm working on, there's been a lot of interest in the way we train our speed here, especially with my David Weck connection there. Yeah. And so I have written a lot of speed articles as of late. So if you're an athlete looking to get faster and not just straight ahead like your traditional 100-meter sprinter, what we see in the Olympic Games, more of a athletic side-to-side agility-based speed development stuff. Mm-hmm. Some of my stuff coming out now will be interesting for sure. Right.
We will definitely link your author profile from Breaking Muscle on our website where we host the podcast.
Wonderful,
so that
thank you.
All the listeners can go on there and check out your material, of course.